Look up on a clear night. Billions of stars, each potentially with planets orbiting them. Estimates suggest there could be trillions upon trillions of planets in our galaxy alone, and billions of galaxies beyond ours. Statistically speaking, it should be almost certain that life exists elsewhere. And yet, silence. Complete and utter silence. This is the core mystery of the Fermi paradox, famously articulated by physicist Enrico Fermi. Where is everybody? For decades, scientists have proposed countless explanations. They're too far away. Interstellar travel is impossible. They deliberately avoid contact. They exist in forms we don't recognize, or are simply uninterested in communicating. But these responses often feel like elaborate justifications for a lack of evidence, relying on assumptions about alien behavior and technology that may not be valid, or even logically sound. Perhaps the more unsettling possibility is that our very understanding of life's prevalence is flawed. The Drake equation, often used to estimate the number of detectable civilizations, is a useful thought experiment, but it's ultimately based on variables we can only guess at. It assumes life arises readily given the right conditions, an assumption increasingly challenged by scientific discoveries and the growing realization that habitability is far more complex than previously imagined. We now know that exoplanets are incredibly common. Planets orbiting stars other than our Sun. The Kepler Space Telescope alone identified thousands of candidates, and subsequent missions like TESS continue to discover new worlds. But simply having a planet in the habitable zone where liquid water could exist doesn't guarantee habitability. In fact, it barely scratches the surface of what's required. A planet must also have the right size, mass, atmospheric composition, and orbital characteristics. The conditions for complex life may be far more specific and rare than previously thought. This leads us to consider the possibility that Earth isn't just another planet. It's an exceptional case, a cosmic anomaly forged by a unique confluence of events. The rare Earth hypothesis, detailed in Peter Ward and Donald Brownlee's groundbreaking book of the same name, proposes precisely this, that a confluence of highly improbable factors made Earth uniquely suitable for complex life. It's not about finding another planet with liquid water. It's about the specific combination of geological, atmospheric, and astronomical conditions. Crucially, this hypothesis emphasizes long-term habitability, sustaining life over billions of years, allowing time for evolution to occur. Think of building a masterpiece sculpture. You need more than just clay. You need the right location, skilled craftsmanship, precise tools, an extraordinary amount of luck, and a stable environment in which to work. Earth occupies a unique galactic habitable zone, nestled within the spiral arms of our galaxy, far enough from the chaotic center with its intense radiation and frequent supernovae, but close enough to have sufficient metallicity for planet formation. A star's composition matters. Heavier elements are essential for building planets and supporting life. Furthermore, our solar system's architecture is relatively stable, lacking disruptive gas giants in close orbits. We also benefit from the protective influence of Jupiter, a gas giant that acts as a gravitational shield, deflecting asteroids and comets that could otherwise devastate our planet. Without Jupiter, Earth would likely experience far more frequent catastrophic impacts, potentially wiping out any nascent life. But perhaps most critically, Earth possesses plate tectonics, a dynamic geological process constantly recycling nutrients, regulating carbon dioxide levels, and maintaining a stable climate over billions of years. This isn't just about having water. It's about sustaining a habitable environment for long enough to allow complex life to evolve. Plate tectonics generates varied habitats, triggers volcanic eruptions that emit vital gases, and shapes continents, offering land masses where evolution thrives. Earth's large moon also plays a critical role, stabilizing our axial tilt and preventing extreme climate swings that would be catastrophic for life. A stable climate is paramount. Too much variation makes it difficult for complex organisms to adapt. And let's not forget our strong magnetic field, protecting us from harmful solar radiation that could strip away our atmosphere. These aren't isolated factors. They are interconnected and mutually reinforcing. The absence of any one of these could have prevented the emergence of complex life. Consider Mars. It once had liquid water, but lacks plate tectonics and a strong magnetic field. Venus is shrouded in a runaway greenhouse effect, with a scorching atmosphere and no surface water. These planets demonstrate that habitability isn't guaranteed simply because conditions were favorable at one point in time. Furthermore, the presence of liquid water itself requires a delicate balance. Too much can lead to erosion and a lack of land masses, while too little results in a frozen world. Even if a planet possesses all the necessary geological and astronomical characteristics, the origin of life itself, abiogenesis, remains a monumental challenge. Creating life from non-living matter is an incredibly complex process that we still don't fully understand. Early Earth conditions were vastly different than they are today. The atmosphere was likely reducing, lacking free oxygen, but even this isn't straightforward. Maintaining the right amount of water was crucial. Too much could dilute prebiotic molecules, while too little would prevent them from interacting. Furthermore, early Earth experienced intense volcanic activity and frequent impacts, creating a harsh environment for life to arise. The formation of complex organic molecules requires specific energy sources and catalysts. While experiments like the Miller-Urey experiment demonstrated that amino acids can form under certain conditions, these experiments don't explain how those molecules assembled into functional polymers like proteins and nucleic acids. Another significant hurdle is chirality. Life uses only left-handed amino acids and right-handed sugars. Achieving this perfect symmetry spontaneously is incredibly unlikely. Random chemical reactions produce equal mixtures of both forms. The fact that life selectively chose one form suggests a highly improbable event, or a guiding principle we don't yet understand. Furthermore, the early Earth experienced unique volcanic activity and hydrothermal vent systems, which may have provided localized environments conducive to prebiotic chemistry, conditions unlikely to be replicated elsewhere. Recent research also highlights the challenges of forming stable RNA molecules in realistic prebiotic conditions. Consider the sheer complexity of even a simple cell. DNA containing vast amounts of genetic information, RNA responsible for protein synthesis, proteins performing countless functions, incredibly intricate structures built with astonishing precision. These aren't just random collections of molecules. They are precisely engineered systems capable of self-replication and evolution. The challenge lies not only in producing the building blocks, but also in enabling them to self-organize into functional, intricate structures. Furthermore, protecting these fragile molecules from degradation in harsh environments is another significant hurdle. We haven't even been able to create a self-replicating molecule in a lab setting, despite decades of research. The formation of protocells, precursors to cells with membranes, also remains a major challenge. This brings us to the great filter theory. This proposes there's at least one step along the path from non-life to interstellar civilization that is incredibly difficult, almost impossible to overcome. Where does this filter lie? If it's ahead of us, a future catastrophe like self-destruction through nuclear war or an insurmountable technological barrier, then our prospects are bleak. The potential for existential threats, climate change, pandemics, asteroid impacts, artificial intelligence gone awry, is very real. But if the filter is behind us, if we've already overcome the most improbable hurdles, then that suggests we are truly rare, perhaps even unique in the universe. The challenges of abiogenesis, the specific conditions on early Earth, and the unlikely combination of factors required for complex life all point to this conclusion. We may have already passed the greatest filter, the origin of life itself. This is no time for sadness. It is a time to celebrate. Our existence isn't a product of chance, but the result of an exceptional chain of events, a unique cosmic wonder unlikely to be repeated. And with that comes a profound responsibility to cherish and protect this precious gift, the only known home for life in the vast cosmos. The search for extraterrestrial life should continue, but we must also recognize the possibility that we are alone and act accordingly. Perhaps our primary purpose isn't to find others, but to safeguard the unique spark of life that has blossomed on Earth. But what if there's more to it than simply preserving life? What if, in a universe governed by entropy, a relentless march towards disorder, life itself is an act of defiance against chaos? Sean Carroll, a physicist focused on time and cosmology, argues that the arrow of time corresponds to rising entropy. Yet, life manifests as small areas where entropy decreases, creating order from chaos. If this is true, then consciousness, our ability to perceive and understand the universe, becomes even more significant. We are not merely passive observers. We are active participants in shaping reality, imbuing meaning into an otherwise indifferent cosmos. Carl Sagan famously said that we are star stuff contemplating the stars. But perhaps it's more accurate to say that the stars are becoming aware of themselves through us. Our scientific endeavors, our artistic creations, our philosophical inquiries, these aren't just human pursuits. They are the universe coming to know itself. If we are truly alone, then the responsibility for preserving and expanding consciousness falls solely upon us. The search for knowledge isn't just about understanding the cosmos. It's about fulfilling a cosmic imperative to bring order out of chaos, meaning out of nothingness, and awareness into the void.